in the Municipal Center and published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Copies of all revised or additional meeting notices are sent via fax to the record, Suburban Night and Northern Valley Press, and are posted in the bulletin board, public bulletin board, in the lobby of the Municipal Center. This is a work session tonight, so we start off with public comment. This is your opportunity if you have anything to tell us. We'll go around the room once. Okay, sounds of silence. We'll move on to be considered, and we are honored to have with us today. Well, we start out high, and by the time we're finished speaking today, we have our borough engineer and our director of DPW here. I assume you're going to be discussing our road program and a few of the other items. There's 5 items on our agenda under to be considered for them to bring us up to date. So whoever wants to start, Bob? Andy, go ahead.
We're going to throw them in.
Sure, go. Why don't you bring a chair over? Here, wait, there's one of the wheels.
There you go. You can see the agenda box. We'll throw it order. There you go. All right, so we have 5 items on tonight. The first one's the 2016 road paving program. We bid the job with a number of base and alternate bids, but we did get excellent prices. The low bidder was AJM Contractors with a total price with the base and all alternates of $628, $122.65. We're recommending award of that in its entirety.
That covers all of the roads on the list?
It covers all the roads on the list. It also, our intent is, if you plan to move forward with it, is to have a pre-construction meeting next week, even though your award is the week after, to kind of accelerate it. I spoke to AJM, they're on board with that. We'd like to get them out very soon after the 13th, start on Essex Street, get that done, and then move from there. That's our goal.
What did we have in the budget for this, Jewel?
1.2 million.
So
for roads in general.
Roads in general, and if we spend, what was the number you had, Davis?
$628,000.
So if we spend this 628, what have we spent to date?
We did microservices.
We did
It would be
microservices.
about 720.
I'm sorry?
730.
We spent previously 730?
No.
No, to date.
To date.
With the.
Including
With
the
this.
6?
this.
So we only spent 100,000 plus for the micro paving?
About, yeah, about 130.
So
That's such a good price.
The question I have is, so we'll have a balance in this account? Is this an opportunity to maybe add some streets, Jewel?
We've talked about it. But even if we add them, they would be done in the spring.
Right,
Right,
what I'd
okay.
like to do is I'd like to have AJM do their contract.
Right.
Make sure they do it properly and on time.
Mm-hmm.
Let them finish it before winter time, so all the roads are done, and then we can evaluate based on their performance if you want to add to their
That makes
contract or
sense.
do another bid.
Are you expecting them to finish the entire list?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's good, because last week we got the impression that some of the roads might be held over till next year.
We spoke to them, their intent is to finish it.
Andy, I have a question. I tried to run up the numbers, and if you can help me, please, because I could not come up with a 625. If you just can help me, please, I'm just trying to understand that.
Oh, that's their bid, Max.
The bid is described over here, and I just want to add it up.
Do you have the bids?
Yeah, I have the bid as you put it over here. That's
If
one.
you look on the second page,
Yeah, the first page is 358 to 77. Yeah.
correct.
Okay. So now the other one.
Then you have an alternate bid A, which is Esmond, which is 107,900.
Yes, I did.
Then you have alternate bid B, which is the granite block curb, which is another 1,400.
And that's on top alternate B, because usually when we see alternate A and alternate B, it's one or the other. That's why I couldn't understand.
No, the state, 2 years ago, the state changed the process on alternates, so they have to be in sequential order. So you could award A, then you could also add B with A, and then you could also add C with A, B,
so
and C. You can't
alternate
add-
does not mean one or the other anymore.
No, not anymore, it doesn't. They changed that.
Okay.
The state changed that by
No wonder
mandate.
that I could not add them up. All right. So it's 358 plus 104, 107 plus
144 plus 160.
plus 144 plus 160, which is 107.
That gives you 628, 122.65. And that would be base bid plus A plus B plus C.
Well, that number's down the bottom. of
Down at the
column.
bottom,
Yeah, okay.
A, B, C.
Okay, well, that's excellent. That's excellent news.
There's one other thing I'll highlight for you in this contract. Alternate bid C, in response to the council's request on longevity for roads,
Yeah.
we added in a new product, which is a sealer. So we're gonna do a test with it. We sought out some manufacturers that provide asphalt sealers across the country. We found a company who does it on both military and commercial airports. Newark Airport, Kennedy, Pensacola, the places like that. And they said this product is a little bit uptick from what you see like a normal driveway sealer. So we're gonna do a big test this year. It's, the price for it was $160,000. We're gonna do both roads from program 2 years ago and roads that are done in this program this year, and then track them for 2 years and see if the longevity changes between a 2-year-old road and a road to see if we get more longevity.
Those are roads with high like the higher.
Yes, higher traction roads.
So, Andy, you probably did that because there is some sort of a track record for this one.
Yes, there is a track record.
And what's the track record saying?
So the company we met with, pavement sealers are common.
Yeah.
Everybody uses them on their driveway. They do use them on roads. This company adds some additives to their pavement sealer, and they've been very successful on airports. The military, specifically the Air Force, has brought them in because the U.S. Air Force, because of who they are, they never stop flying. They can't shut a runway down. They have to fly 24/7. So they're able to seal it and let the planes come right back on land literally within the hour. And they found a high success rate because the military airports can't repave. They can't close to repave. So their track record, they were showing us track records of 10 plus years, adding 8 to 10 years onto a regular 10-year pavement. It was incredible.
So 8 to 10 years on top of that.
Additional, yeah.
So almost 20 years we talking.
Exactly. So
Alright.
basically double the
That's-
life of the pavement.
That's a very good
That's
investment.
amazing.
I know, and they're like I said, they're
That's a
landing.
saving in the
They're
long
landing
run.
fighter jets and bombers.
And you're gonna seal also the roads that were done like
We were gonna pick
within
the-
last 2 years.
Right. What they said to us, they said, if you really want to show the council a result, pick a road that's 2 years old and seal
Magnolia.
it with the new road, and they'll see both roads track at the same deterioration.
Magnolia, it's done 2 years ago, and it needs it.
That's right.
Actually, Stonehurst needs it more than Magnolia.
There are no fighter bombers, there's no fighter bombers or jets landing
You got
on
the
Magnolia,
SUVs.
but you got the SUVs.
Which may be worse.
How big of a sample size
No, wait
is
for
the test gonna be?
We're going to do between 8 to 10 roads.
Okay.
And if we can stretch a little more, we might do a few more, but
Okay.
we plan on doing 8 to 10 roads.
Julie, I have a question. I had a resident ask me about Newcomb Road. Are they on the list for next year, or where does that
They're on
stand?
our list. Yeah,
They're on the list.
they're on the list.
I read the name, didn't I?
But that's not on the list for now.
No, but next year.
For next year it is. Okay.
Yeah, the Newcomb Hickory area,
Newcomb Hickory.
that whole area.
Okay, next is 5 South Summit Street, environmental remediation. This is George's TV show.
Yep.
So-
And demolition.
So 5 South Summer Street, we received 4 bidders. The bid was broken down between building demolition and remediation of both lead and asbestos paint, and also the milling and paving. We felt that the contractor's price for the milling and paving was too high for that site. So we believe that the price of $45,355 to demo the building, remediate the environmental concerns, and then fill the hole in and just cover it up. The price of $45,355 is a good price. We don't believe you should award the alternate because we think those prices are too high. We can do that. We can do that ourselves under our own road program in another year.
So, on this topic, I expressed a real concern about it last time when we were estimating that the bid would be $40,000. And so now the lowest bid is $45,000. I guess a side note is there are some other conversations potentially going on about parking lots and things of that nature. Is that something we should discuss in closed session to see how this potentially would get tied into it before we even move forward on it?
Well,
Peter?
I would support that.
I think we should move forward on it. If you look at the other 3 bids, the 45 is coming in pretty good.
The estimate
Yeah,
was
but-
50,000.
I'm comparing, I just have a hard time spending $45,000 to tear down a building with the concrete that's gonna fit into 3 and 4 40-yard dumpsters. It doesn't make any economic sense to me
Well,
whatsoever.
we've had that discussion though, where
Right, and I didn't support it then, right?
but we've had the discussion. I don't think there's anything new.
But
Is there anything additional that we can talk about?
No,
We
but
have to-
I don't think that we are supporting at this moment in time, spending the money, given what we are trying to do
Well-
over there.
We did approve it in the budget. The money is there, and the building is not going to go away on its own.
It-
And you've got your professionals telling you, A, this has to be done in a certain way. I mean, I'm just reiterating the discussion we had months ago. Every time we bring this up, we have to go back to square one. It will never get done. And, in the meantime, we could level this thing and use the space for parking or something. So I don't understand why
The
we're...
DEP rules are not gonna change.
Yeah,
If anything, over
they'll
time,
get
they'll get
worse.
more stringent.
So, I mean, if the majority of the council says they don't want to do it, fine. But, we've already approved doing it, and we just have this...
Did we approve doing it?
Yeah, we did. It's in the budget.
We put it in the budget as
But
as
keep
a
in-
holding.
Keep in mind,
Excuse me, holding pattern?
Yeah.
for what? What are you holding it for?
We wanted to know the price,
You got the
You got
price,
the
and you got
price.
a
and then
thorough
we
explanation.
reserve the right to make a decision when we get the price. It's
Well,
basically,
the estimate we got was $50,000. Susan?
It's already authorized as part of our capital plan,
Right.
so
So,
that we borrow against that capital plan.
we understand that very well.
Okay.
look, there's no point in discussing this further. If you don't want to do it, that's fine, then we'll sit there with a building
building.
in a condition that if it was a privately owned, we would be giving it violations.
The only thing I'd warn you of, just from a structural perspective, the building's not in good shape, and it contains asbestos. We believe the restoration of the site, full paving to create a parking lot, you should hold on. From a, perspective of safety, we thoroughly believe that's us, that the building should be taken down, is left as a whole. I think to leave that building sit for another year is dangerous. It is.
Well, I can't speak for anyone else at the table. I just find the combination of the state's mandates in terms of the cleaning up of this building, which in the private world would be, as compared to what you would do in the private sector, this price is ridiculous. And so while the state may have mandated those rules that the municipality and the taxpayers have to pay, I mean, I know this, I'm not trying to make a mountain out of a molehill, but this to me is an example of why people struggle with government.
Well, that may be, but
So,
is that any reason to not move forward?
My suggestion of moving forward is, because we do have other conversations going on, and
But nothing that would preclude taking down this building.
right.
but the other conversation,
When this was brought up initially, I think the main thing that people kept asking for was a breakdown or some explanation or demonstration of how this process could add up
To this amount of money,
amount of money. It's broken down into 14 lines.
Nobody's disputing that this price seems kind of ridiculous.
But you can see-
I would also
yeah.
tell you this, Mark, from further discussions on the other issue, nothing's going to be happening for quite some time.
Understood.
So the question is, do we leave this building the way it is, and we've just been told that it's not safe, okay, or do we take it down, which is what we've already put this money aside, and it's actually costing us less than the amount of money we put aside?
Look
Right,
at the two
so-
highest cost items on the
Yeah,
list.
that-
The two highest cost items on the list, or you can even do the top three. Demolition, $6,200 is the demolition. The original thought was that people thought that they were paying $55,000 or $50,000 to demolish, and we kept saying all along, no, that's only one component of the project. The next thing is disposal, which is one of the hot issues with respect to DEP and the rules and regulations that we have to abide by. And item number 6 is the third largest, which is the removal of the asbestos. It would be different if these numbers were applied to, I guess, lesser or less significant portions, but those are the top 3 items,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
think-
not going to change.
No, I don't think, just to be fair to Lombardo, if you were doing this building privately, you could not do it any cheaper. This building has asbestos in it, the building contains all kinds of different materials in it. This number is a really good number.
What's the square footage of this building?
The building's
It's about
Tiny.
400 square feet?
Yeah, it's
Small.
400 square feet, it's small. But it has from...
It's a hot building.
Yeah, it's
And
not.
on
Maybe
the-
if they did it privately and removed the materials
On
illegally.
the other hand, I think we're paying $45,000 to get a piece of property back to where we can use it. Right now, this
Because right now
property,
it's not
this
usable.
property has sat there for 20 years, and, we
And
got a
it's
minuscule income from the rental, and now we'll be able to at least park 20 cars there.
No, 2 cars on this place.
Well,
So, but the
it's not 2
point, what
cars.
we were trying to, we have a plan. And if that plans that we're trying to discuss, and that's why maybe we should discuss in a closed session, takes a year, might as well do that when we're trying to do that. So
But even if that plan comes to fruition, we're still gonna have to take this building down.
it will be
And
part
it's
of
not-
no, because then you don't have to repair the whole tank because everything is gonna be taken apart. The whole process gets completely changed.
So you want to leave this building, which you've been told is unsafe, for at least another year on the possibility that something bigger may come along.
Yes, we need to discuss that. I think we need
Why
to
don't we
discuss.
discuss it in closed session and then we can always make a decision about it later?
Yeah.
Since we can't clearly discuss it properly right now, I don't know why
Okay.
we're doing these
We'll
meetings.
we'll discuss this tonight in closed session.
Yeah, let's do it
And then
tonight.
maybe we'll
and-
come to a decision. Dan, please?
Without the alternate bid, what condition will the property be in for parking? You will be able to
So-
park on,
They would take the hole as it exists, we filled in with clean material, and then it would be paved, so the site would be all paved, though it would be uneven, because the site's not in great shape. You could go on it and park on it.
Okay.
I think we did a layout, you could fit 11 or 12 cars on it, once it's paved, without the building. But we're gonna restore, this includes restoring the sidewalk in front of it, because you have to.
right.
This includes putting pavement over the hole, taking the asbestos out, and disposing of all the materials. Concrete goes away as an impacted or hazardous material, the asbestos does too, and the wood and the shingles, all that has to get removed. You can't, I mean, just from an engineering perspective, these numbers you have excellent numbers to restore this building, I'm telling you. We do a lot of buildings like this, is good numbers.
Well,
Now, the
just-
paving was not, the alternate bid A is not a good number.
No,
Not
And
good.
look at the other bids.
Yeah.
Understood. I'm just, again,
I think we should discuss it.
I have a personal issue with the cost of this. I expressed it last time. I still have the
Well,
same.
I think we all have a personal issue with the cost.
Not a personal, a professional
Well, but
concern about the cost.
the question should be not whether we have an issue with the price, the question is, can it be done cheaper? And we've been told by our professionals, no.
I
Not only
understand.
that, but a delay may add to the cost.
So I don't understand the issue. If the building's about, whatever, 400 square feet, how do we get 10 parking spots out of that? How does that math
So when
work?
you take the width and length of the site, we took it and just laid out how they fit in there, and I want to say we did 11 spaces, but we did I can share it with you. I can actually.
11
there's-
spaces
there's
was
six on there
altogether.
now.
There's is there 6 now?
There's six
There's
now.
6 now.
Yeah.
So it's not an increase of 11, but
It's
it's...
three when we're getting additional or something.
Yeah.
It's only 3 spaces
Dan?
that we get.
oh, no.
All right, so let's go on.
The next item is the tennis court lighting. So this is a project I think you had it's been a while now. We had lights in the tennis courts that are out. We actually went to bid via Quality Electric, got 2 bidders, Quality Electric and Margolis Electric. The price is $99,833, which is exactly what the estimate was. I mean, the estimate comes from Musco Lighting, who does all your lighting anyway. Bid's an excellent price. We obviously would recommend it.
Can I ask a question, please? What is clearing site?
Clearing site is, the site has existing electrical poles on it, so they can
Mhm.
take the poles and foundations out.
And what we're gonna be doing, because that's why I'm trying to
They're
understand.
putting in brand new lighting for the courts, the tennis courts.
Brand new, we're gonna put new poles, we cannot use existing poles?
No, we evaluated that a couple years ago. Your existing foundations and poles were inadequate. So you're gonna put in a brand new lighting system with the new types of foundations, new poles on it.
And that's $83,000, 82,300.
We got a
Well, it's not-
grant,
it's-
did we
yes.
get a grant for something?
Yeah.
We got
Yes.
a
50%.
matching
We have a grant for
50% of
50%.
that is matching back.
Any further discussion?
Okay.
Next.
Next item is Davis Johnson Park. So at Davis Johnson Park, you have a gazebo there, which is brand new. We received for that a grant also to construct a new ADA ramp from the roadway to the gazebo to allow persons with various disabilities to get to the gazebo and/or sit on the sides for concerts in the park. So
Also for weddings.
everything for any event, any event you have there, it gives you access which you don't have currently for people with disabilities.
What distance do we talk about is from the
From the road right to the front of the
Westervelt?
gazebo. No, from the internal.
Inside.
From the internal
The driveway.
to the gazebo?
Correct, and with a little sitting area to the side, yes.
And that's gonna be like a ramp with an ADA access, or what is gonna be really?
It's going to be an access walkway that allows somebody with disabilities.
We have an access, so we're just gonna put,
Well, it's
No.
access is by stairs.
Right now, you've
so
got...
we're gonna make it smooth.
So
Right
wheelchair
now, you've got a
access,
curb followed by steps that are built with pavers,
Yeah.
very rough. I know at the end of a
And
concert,
high.
I stand there to make sure that nobody's gonna stumble
Straight doors.
going up.
It's gonna be a ramp now. You'll have a ramp that goes.
Concrete, pavers, what are you thinking?
We're probably gonna bid it a couple of ways to see what the best price is. We're gonna
Okay.
try to get the best price, and we could use potentially a cinder walkway too. So we're looking
Use
at
a what?
use maybe
Cinder block.
use cinders,
Oh,
so have
cinder.
concrete off the street, and we want to make it fit the park.
Right,
So it's got to fit that park. It's a specific look. It's historical in there. So we're looking at a couple of them.
And we're gonna have a chance to look at the proposals, yeah?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, they'll come back to you the same way with alternates. You'll see them all.
Yeah.
Upper Griffin Park Playground Equipment Renovation.
Upper Griffin Park's another. It's the third one that you received the grant for. Griffin Park, we call it the lower park, was already done under a grant. That park is installed and that park is actively being used. The upper park, we applied for a grant under that one, received one. So now the idea is to replace that park in the same type of schematics and color as the lower park. Park to current standards, to meet the current playground standards and meet the ADA accessibility.
So there are a few questions over here. You have a picture of a park. Is that what we would get type of for
That's
$100,000?
exactly what you're gonna get.
$100,000
Same
for this?
colors, everything.
Exactly. So that's exactly what you're gonna get.
And this is what's going to be there now, when it's done, right?
That's exactly what
It's
we're doing.
$100,000 for 2 swings. See, this is the issue that I personally have. Well, last time we approved the lighting for $100,000, bang, the bid came in $100,000. If we approve over here the bid for $100,000 as it is requested, we know that's gonna come at $100,000.
Well, it was bid. This was a bid. This wasn't.
This is
Yeah.
a bid.
No, this is the actual bids that came in. This is not.
So it's already been bid and
Yeah,
the
already
bid is
been
coming.
bid.
The reason we can estimate those prices, the lighting and the playground very tightly, because both the lighting manufacturer, Musco, and the playground manufacturer, Game Time, have already done bids via state contract. So they have a very large bid over the whole state of New Jersey. We choose, because we think it's best for you, to secondary bid it again to make sure we can either get at least that price or better. In both cases, we actually got a little better. So these two bids, both the lighting bid and the Griffin Park bid, we actually came below state contract. So our bidding actually saved you a little more money than the state
Let me
contract.
just ask, in Griffith Park, we took out a few trees,
Where?
maybe a year ago or so,
Where?
Griffin Park.
Griffith Park.
Oh, in Griffin Park, yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
When we do the rebuilding, can we put also some trees back?
In this one, we don't have to take any trees out.
I'm saying, we took out some, can we replant 3 trees?
In
When we do this, yeah, I mean, we're putting them,
Yeah, you're talking about Froggy.
You talking about Froggy Park?
Griffin Park, we didn't take it.
we didn't take any.
No,
No,
trees
okay.
out of Griffin.
Froggy took 3 down.
Froggy, we had.
Okay, then we'll talk separately, I don't want to, okay.
Okay. And
So
we,
we're
and we
gonna-
did put 3 back.
Jewel,
Over there.
we're gonna sign this contract by the 31st, so we get the whole free installation deal?
Correct.
Absolutely, we want the free installation.
Great.
Is that it for you?
We shake hands and we move.
This is true. Just have one item to make the council aware before work gets underway. Just to make everyone aware, we have a few trees in the center of town that have to come down. 4 in-
Highland Park.
3 of them in Hyla Park. We also have 3 that are going to get pruned and trimmed up and made safe. We have the large oak tree right out here along River Ridge Road, right by the commons, that's going to have to come down. That was just analyzed by the county. We took a dead limb off of it the other day, and the center of the tree's hollow. So that's a very...
Can we just do the replacement, that's what I was
Yeah,
asking.
yeah, yeah.
please.
When I do Hyla Park, I plan on getting trees in there before
Right on
winter.
that.
The
Okay.
problem, the problem,
That's-
the problem, of course, is that the trees we're taking down are so big, but I can tell you that limbs are coming down all the time. It's very fortunate to get through the summer without somebody getting cramped.
Right.
The whole idea is if we take them down, put it
Get it
back
back
so
in.
it'll grow in a
Right.
few years, it's gonna look good.
Yep. I
Thank you.
just wanted you to be aware of that prior to the start of the
Before I
commencement
call
of
you
work.
back,
Yeah.
before I call you again.
Yeah. Basically, before Max calls me, we're taking the trees.
Max should be the only one that calls on this one.
Before they depart, I just wanted to ask, Andy, did you want to comment on the shared services
Oh,
with the
yeah.
county for the road resurfacing?
Yes, so there's an item on your agenda for shared service with the county for road resurfacing. The county of Bergen, every year or every other year, asks each municipality to pass this shared services agreement. The purpose of the agreement is that the county comes and resurfaces a road in your town, a county road. The borough is responsible to go through the effort of preparing a contract and bidding handicap ramps and sidewalk repair where needed, even though the county pays you back for all of it.
Mhm.
It's mandatory, you have to do it, you have to agree to do it, you have to agree to do it per the agreement. If you don't agree to it, the county will never pay the road in your town. So we recommend you do it.
Hopefully it won't be a close.
It's not a great, it doesn't cost you any money at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't, the idea is that the county, right, the county's going back, if you go back 4 or 5 years ago, the whole ADA mandate for Americans with Disability Act and access really weighs heavy on the county, so they want to make sure it gets done on their roads. Obviously, we should support it, and we recommend
So,
supporting it.
Andy, I read the contract, and there was a question I wanted to, if we discuss now. We do the same thing in town with our roads
Yes,
when
we
we
do.
have. Are they pretty much the same standard, so they
Same
match?
standard, exactly
Okay,
same standard.
that's why I was trying to make sure that they match with what we have in town.
Otherwise, we'll change the standards.
That's exactly why I was trying to make sure that it's,
Okay, thank you, Andy, and thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
Thanks.
Good evening, everyone.
And let's go to the administrator's report.
Oh, you have one before HPC.
HPC.
So HPC, Paul, you want to take the lead on this?
Yeah, sure. The HPC was asked to reconsider having a look at 19 Peter Linus Court. This was the Anthony Barn property that's about 2/3 of an acre that the homeowner, Mr. Marino, was looking at subdividing. And the first time it was submitted through the system, which is an HPC recommendation and eventually a planning board assessment, the subdivision had not taken place. So the planning board said, why don't you clarify the scope of what you want to have landmarked? So they are resubmitting it, and as you can see here, the homeowner would like to try to landmark the entire property.
That
Lot
would be
14, tax map block 4,
and that's an
1404.
as is,
As
as
is.
is,
So
okay.
there's no subdivision involved.
He was thinking of subdividing, and ultimately, he has a renter for the house, so ultimately, he's decided to keep everything as is and landmark the entire property. So we
Looks
would
good.
get the barn and the whole landscape.
Which is what it should have been done in the first place, and it's a wonderful resolution to this because the property is very special.
It did, it bounced around a while, but I think it's gonna end up in the right place.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Jewel?
Do we discuss this one? We have, or are we gonna make a
Discuss what?
decision declaring it historic?
No,
Well,
we push
it hasn't
to
come
the
back
pl-
to us yet.
We push it to the planning
We
board.
push it back and it has to come back to us again.
Yes.
Administrator's report. Okay, the first item is the senior bus procurement schedule. It's anticipated that the resolution authorizing going out to bid for the vehicle will be on the council meeting on October 13th. I've already submitted it to the clerk's office for the upcoming agenda next Thursday. If you scroll down after page 3, there is an overall procurement schedule for the process. It anticipates the turnaround for delivery from time of bid to be roughly 5.5 months, which is what most communities have been coming in at. Communities that are getting much larger vehicles, it usually can take as long as 6 or 7 months, but we're not using like a full-scale bus. full size.
So just to complement, Jules sent me the actual bid. I made some small modifications, I guess, and I guess you agreed to the modification, Jules? So it's a good bid for the town.
It's very rare that you appreciate a good bid.
Well, we work together, that's very good, I thought.
Oh, question on the, while on the bus, the NJ Transit 5310 grant, any movement on that?
We haven't had any feedback yet. We were told, what I would have to do is just to see where it is at the MPO? Yeah.
Municipal project.
No,
Oversight.
it's the Municipal Transportation Planning Organization.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's part of the process, if you recall, it goes there first.
Okay.
In fact, they actually have to do that and determine whether or not our application actually gets sent to the Federal Transportation Authority.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And the current transportation fund does it affect this?
No,
Okay.
no. In fact, we asked that question at the time, because that's how long this, nobody expected this
Right.
freeze to last this long,
Yeah.
but it occurred while we were preparing the application, and when we spoke to New Jersey Transit, they told us no, that this was not part of the freeze.
And since we are on the subject, it seems that Wednesday, we're gonna have some sort of a resolution on the, next Wednesday, on the
On Thursday, right.
funding. Then how quick can we restart the whole work that we have frozen?
Second part of Jefferson, I think, right?
Yeah, Jefferson is the main one. We would probably just defer that to the spring, because now we're working on our own 2016 road resurfacing program.
But why can't they be done in parallel? I'm trying to understand that, Joel.
Because you were concerned about the timing, we would actually just be starting the bid process.
We're behind.
We're behind.
But we had it already, maybe I didn't explain it. We already started the work and we had to freeze the work because of the, stop the work because of the lack of funding.
No, we
The
didn't have to stop any work. It just hadn't started.
Okay, so we didn't start it because of the
Right, we
freeze.
were kept from starting the work.
But that was supposed to be something a bit different than what we have here.
It's a different source of funds.
Yeah, and it was a different bid for a different street.
But it hasn't been bid yet.
Okay, and we cannot redo in parallel with that. Because we have the source of funds and say, okay, let's bid this Jefferson Street or so, and start also in parallel, do that. work.
Correct. I mean, we don't have enough time to force it into the winter, but what we're not going to, if the funds become available, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put it into the bid process so that
Okay.
it's ready as early in next year as possible.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item is the police and fire communications, which you know is in process. We have a consultant that's assisting myself as the project manager, and also police and fire in identifying the issues and getting down to what the cost is. Essentially, what we were dealing with was a variety of proposed solutions, but without any real indication of the validity and the quality of those options. And that's what has been taking place since the project started in roughly, I believe, April. Summer was rough because everybody was on vacation. So things slowed down for a few weeks, but we got them back on track. And we're basically ready to move into phase 2, which is implementation. So a lot has been accomplished. I think one of the most successful portions was the fact that it turned out that the Palisades Parkway Authority was in the process of putting a new antenna
Yeah. Did
in
they put it?
Alpine. It's up, and we're in the testing phase now. So if all goes well, then the next phase would be the implementation, the purchase of whatever new radio equipment. And that was the thing, we had several items that our departments, both police and fire, needed to purchase, but we didn't really have a clear enough understanding of whether or not those purchases, we just wanted to make sure that we were buying the right products and the right equipment.
Do you happen to know, but just on the antenna, to interrupt you,
Mm-hmm.
do you just casually happen to know the range of that antenna?
No, I don't. I can get it for you though.
Just as a
I'll
point of
get
interest,
that.
that's all.
Yeah.
And another thing,
It's less to do with range and more to do with terrain.
Right. I
Because of
imagine,
the,
Yeah.
the
the
hills in the valleys.
It's higher.
Right.
It's higher than the
Right.
JCC, I
Right.
believe.
Yeah.
So, but the question is, despite its height, how are we going to be served down in the valleys?
Right.
Yeah. Our biggest problem is geography. It's geography.
Topography.
so Joe,
Topography. Well, where we're located, as well as. Yeah.
Joe, this is the question that I think that you should ask either this consultant. And so, this is a wireless type radio system, but they should be backed up by the new system that we've just incorporated in school and the police and the so not to take over for the wireless because we can't, but should be connected to this system. So by the time it gets to here, all the signals, if the wireless doesn't work, we should be able to use the landlines to communicate to all the other police departments and stuff like that, which is so much more efficient than just going strictly wires.
But this is a slightly different issue though, because what we're lacking, and that's why I wind up separating it, because as it seemed at first that police and fire had the same problems, but what our study revealed was that they had slightly different problems. So the police situation can be resolved, I wouldn't say easily, but the new antenna helps us considerably. The issue that fire has is different. They have a connectivity problem. And since I prepared this summary, we've actually had a meeting with the Board of Education to look at the possibility of us allowing the borough to piggyback on their fiber optic cables.
Which one? The
Board of Education. Otherwise, we would have had to have supplied all of the fiber optic support ourselves. So what we now have is we have a base, which is the Board of Education. The portion that we still have to bear the cost for is getting that connection from the high school, or excuse me, from the police department to the JCC. That cost will still fall on us.
Yeah.
But part of
And it's going to be fiber optics on that?
it's going to be fiber optics.
So what I was saying, this is a good plan. The moment it gets back to the police and fire department here, should be interconnected in our total telecommunication system. So from here, if you need to connect to connect to the Hackensack, the emergency, the other ones, you can use immediately your system that we just built, and that's a secure, very well connected system.
It is, but the fire department has a slightly different problem. Their problem has to do not with internal communications, but external. And they're not things that occur at the department, it's what occurs at the fire scene,
Yeah, at the remote locations.
at the remote
Yeah,
location.
absolutely, that's always the
Yeah.
biggest problem.
And so what we would be looking at is just extending the contract for MRESC for just 3 additional months. And then basically, all of the decisions will have been made and we'll be up and running.
Do we have the funds for that?
Yes, we do. It's in the capital budget.
Okay.
Court visitation, that's just,
That's an
Just-
annual thing.
it's an annual thing. And as I added, we always get a very good rating. And I think that will even improve because now we do have a part-time violations clerk. And as you see, one of the things that they do look at is office practices and how you're functioning, whether it's smooth, whether you have adequate resources, et cetera.
We
Okay?
have the court violation system, we don't have the violations now.
Don't get me started. Under updates, when we were talking last week about roadway resurfacing, and we mentioned the fact that during the course of the summer, we did microsurfacing. So rather than just leaving it as a general statement, we just wanted to give you the breakdown of the streets so you'll know precisely what was done during that period.
And it's funny because a very common comment from a resident that lives on the street that's micropaved is they're not happy with it as soon as it happens. They need to give it a month or two before it wears in. And not only that, it becomes smoother, but also they become acclimated to it. And once again, we remind them it's economics. We do.
Is it some kind of a rough surfacing? This
It's a rough surfacing. It's not totally smooth, but a lot of that roughness wears off very quickly.
It does.
And now the
it
sealer,
has to
if
be
we're
done
gonna
during the
apply the
warmest weather,
sealer,
right.
that's gonna make it much
Well, I
smoother.
don't know. I think the sealer was meant to go on the roads that we mill and pave. I'm not sure.
She
Correct,
just
it
said
is.
that he's gonna do
It's-
also the
It's to
previous one.
protect, the roads that are milled and paved.
Right.
But didn't he said he's gonna do also the one that we
He
previously
said he's
did?
gonna do streets that were done 2 years ago.
But not micropave.
Not
Not
micropave.
micropaving, the sealant.
Is there a reason, oh, I missed him, why not also do the micropaving?
Because
That
that's
we
a
should.
duplication.
Micropaving basically is just
Yeah.
sealing the roads.
Yeah, but it's sealing roads
But
that are
I think
not in a,
I think we can
I
ask the
think what a
question.
good question
not
would
in
be
as good a
is
condition.
ask him to explain the difference between this sealer and the micropaving.
Yeah.
cost effective wise as well as where. You know,
Longevity.
are we better off just using this new product
Yeah.
rather than micros? So I have a feeling the micros paving is much less
It's-
expensive.
Probably
We'll
is.
see, yeah. The
these are all
prices for
things-
this one was 140,000 for so many roads.
This is, well, we did,
Was not
all
so-
the micro paving cost 130.
Well,
Less
keep in-
roads.
Yeah, keep in mind
Less
that it's two very different processes though, because what you're doing here is you're milling and paving, and then over the
Yeah.
paving, you're putting just a very thin coat of sealant.
Yeah.
Microsurfacing does require you to score the streets, to mill the streets, and then put down a thicker
Yeah, so we
surface.
can ask, it doesn't hurt to ask and see whatever the answer is.
Jefferson's in great shape. That was done how many years ago?
It's been about 3 years now.
And Dean looks great right now.
Yep. And a lot of, several communities from Bergen have come
Come to look.
and looked.
Well, it was
and-
written up in the League of Municipalities magazine.
Yep, yes it was. So there you have your events. Just noted that Councilman Park had requested a copy of the recreation resource map, and that
Oh,
is
yeah.
attached.
I have
You know how controversial that was about 6 or 7 years ago.
so many
Looking
questions
through
on that.
that.
Where is it attached? Is there a
That's
separate
the
link?
fourth thing on their administrative
Okay.
report.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And that's basically it.
June, can we ask you, please,
Sure.
next time when we report, to also report on the DPW construction status?
Oh, sure.
Well, we got that last week. and
Yeah.
I did informally ask Bob how is it going. He's very pleased with
Very
it.
pleased.
And if you drive by it, you'll see there's a lot of work going on, and the building's been framed,
Right.
and it really looks like progress has been made.
We're gonna be doing the purchase of the furniture, and so what we try to do is each time we come for a major acquisition, we also give you a rundown on where we are with the overall project.
Oh, Dan had his hand in, Mark.
For the map, the rec map,
Mhm.
I'm assuming floodways are there for flood purposes and spillways and such
All right.
near people's properties. What is number 2? No, not number 2, I'm sorry. Number 27.
Robert's Court?
Yep, strip along.
Roberts Court
Where is
is
that?
off of Tenafly Road.
Yes, and I live.
It's a cul-de-sac. If you're coming towards Englewood, you make a left on the Roberts Court.
Yep.
On the right-hand side are a half a dozen houses. On the left-hand side is a very tiny strip of widthwise of land. It's not big enough for anything. And
Right.
in most cases, it's bordered by fences on the backyards of the houses on the street to the north. Now, this little piece of property really has next to no value to us. However, the resident, what can be done with it if the residents were to, let's say we were to give it to the residents on the next street, and I'm not sure if that's Demott or one of
It
the
is
streets, then their backyard would be adjacent to another street, which most people don't want a backyard that abuts
the street.
another street. So they fenced it off, and there's a strip that unfortunately requires the DPW to
How
maintain.
big is it? How big
I
is
would
it?
say it's not much more than 10 feet, 15 feet wide, but it's the length of Roberts Court, which is probably 6 houses, so maybe it's 600 feet long.
Point 1 acre.
See, and these are the kinds of things that ended up on the COA lists for buildable
Open
properties.
space, yeah.
You could build railroad flats there, 8 feet wide. Good catch, though, Don. But you probably pass that 1,000 times and never even see it,
Never.
unless it's overgrown. Because
Yeah.
once a year, I'll get a call from a resident about when are they going to mow that strip?
The size of each parcel is listed in the,
Yeah,
the
what,
key.
I didn't see the one on Buff Road.
We could put a bocce court there.
That would be fun. Oh, so I had a comment to Max's question about the DPW building. I took a casual walkthrough with Bob 2 weeks ago. It's all framed. It looks like the air conditioning units were put in a couple of days ago. The
HVAC, yeah.
roof is on, and the inside trades are doing their work now. So it's coming along nicely.
You asked a question about Buff Road.
Yeah,
I think there's one space that
remember that?
it's an easement.
The easement, that one?
It's an easement, so nothing can be built on it.
No.
It's too narrow. But it's
I just got a
technically
question about get it clean.
it's vacant land. that we own.
Yeah, we need to clean it because again, it's getting all the
Does it
debris.
make economic sense to get these cut them up and give them back to the property owners who live
Well,
adjacent?
probably would cost you more in legal fees than it would whatever you're gonna recoup. What ends up happening in many cases, if not most cases, is the residents use it anyway.
Right.
You know, i.e. the alleys up on Columbus and
the
Newcomb.
alleys.
Where, I mean, it's just an absolute nightmare that we've inherited, and, you know, there's lots of things I'd like to tackle, that isn't one of them.
Agreed.
Okay,
Can I say one crazy hypothetical for, on the map, number 7?
Hold on, let me go back.
Go back to map.
what's it read?
I just closed it.
It borders Tenafly Middle School. It's Roosevelt Commons.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
When I went to middle school,
You
they
did?
never used that lawn. You think they would be agreeable for us to expand Roosevelt Common into their front lawn?
Well, you're talking about what used to be, until recently, called the practice football field.
There's
And-
a field there
Well,
No,
you're talking
it's
about
not.
the space,
between Commons and the front.
yeah, it's a big field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
They used to flood all the time.
we use that now for soccer.
Oh, do you?
For many years, when the football program had more teams, like a JV team and our.
Is it like an official field with stripes and everything?
They put stripes on it, yeah. But I mean, it's no permanent improvements. But soccer, during the soccer season, you'll see soccer goals there, and it's used primarily by younger groups.
Okay.
But it's definitely used, and it's, in all fairness, I'm not sure if the rec department oversees that field, or they have to put a permit in with the high school. Probably, they have to put a permit in with the schools, but
they put in.
it goes through the rec department.
Yeah, I just don't like how it's a big triangle there and then just cut weird. Looks weird,
So you want to make it a square instead of a triangle?
basically.
Yeah, that will increase our
It's like, who decided to
commons.
do it that way?
Okay.
That's what I mean.
You know, believe me, considering how difficult it is to share things, I'm not sure they want to give us a field of that size. I'm not sure we would blame them. Any questions on the resolutions? One of them was, C was already explained to us.
Mayor, there was that letter of correspondence that came in today.
Okay, well, we have two things to discuss. One is a letter from the Tenafly United Methodist Church, and it was not sent in a timely fashion, but it's rather routine. They want to do a rummage sale on October the 15th from 9 to 6. They will not have any vendors. Any problems with that?
Sounds good.
Okay, and we also had a request from the community chest of Tenafly, Englewood, and Englewood Cliffs. That's the formal name of it. Their offices are now in Englewood. They make a lot of donations to Tenafly organizations. They would like to have a blurb on the electronic message board talking about their Oktoberfest. Because they're not a Tenafly organization, we as a body have to approve it. Anybody have any objections to that?
Sounds good.
The only thing is that probably we're gonna put up signs for the elections.
It's not there. It's on the electronic message
Electronic
board
board.
across the street.
They can put 6 times.
And we just won't put the signs up this year.
And they're a very good organization.
That's a good idea, to tell the truth. It'll be a
Look
great
at all the
idea.
money you'd save.
Great.
I
Nobody does
agree
it,
with
it's
that
fine.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's it for this, and now we're going to, anybody have anything for the good of the order? Okay, we'll adjourn now to
No, we
a
stay here.
special regular meeting, and then we're going to have a closed session.
And you're gonna add contract negotiations.
To the
Where-
closed
where's
session, but,
this? Okay.
Okay,
Special
so the special,
that's actually a revision to this agenda.
Yes.
Right.
yeah, but the special regular meeting is just a quick
This is
thing,
a vote, right?
For the tax collector appointment.
right.
Oh, it's only that.
We have to
Okay.
adjourn this meeting and start.
Uh,
We're gonna stay
I'll
here.
put an
Stay here,
adjournment.
we're not-
I'll
Stay here.
entertain a motion to adjourn the
So
work
moved.
session.
So moved,
All in
seconded,
favor?
aye.
Okay, now I'm going to read the open public meeting statement for the
Special
public meeting, special regular meeting. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the notice requirements have been satisfied. Meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the municipal center, and published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Notice of this meeting by the September 29th, 2016 sunshine notice has been sent to the Record, Suburbanite, and Northern Valley Press, and has been posted in the public bulletin board in the lobby of the municipal center. Okay, Lisette? What do we?
Comments?
No, it's just a motion to appoint our new tax collector and Colleen is.
But I have a revision to the agenda, to the closed session agenda, which I guess we'll do here, because we're going to have a
Okay.
closed session as part of this. And we're just adding a contract negotiation matter to the issue to the closed session.
Okay.
And just I have a question, because before we were discussing a different piece of property, and next you made a comment that we'll discuss it in the closed session, but was that
It's not on the agenda.
not on this? We're not discussing it in this closed session.
I
right?
thought.
Whenever you want to bring it
Oh,
up.
you're making it, you just made an amendment to the agenda for the closed session, correct?
Yeah, but that was for something else.
Oh.
For
what?
something else.
Why can you make an amendment for that, and not for this?
Well, we could.
Okay, so.
You
we
can, because the.
So that's why that's a question. because
So let's do it.
Yeah.
Matter.
But it's just about
Additional
a
real estate issues to be discussed in
potential,
the closed session.
potential acquisition or sale of real estate, right? Okay,
Yes.
so that's another amendment to the agenda. We'll be having a discussion with respect to the potential purchase or sale of real estate.
Okay. Do you need a motion to approve the appointed tax collector to the unexpired term?
Yes, and now I have to do a roll call on it.
A motion?
So,
Is there a second?
Second.
Does somebody need to read that? No? You gonna call the roll?
Well,
No, Susan?
Susan is
Go
doing it.
ahead.
Okay, hi.
Hello.
This is Colleen Annis. She will be our new tax collector. And why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
I have been a tax collector and finance officer for close to 20 years now. I started out in the borough of Hillsdale, was there for about 10 years, and now then moved on to Park Ridge for 8 years, and I'm now in the borough of Waldwick. I had worked with Susan in Park Ridge previously, so she had explained the predicament of not having somebody for a temporary term, so I
Okay.
offered to help out.
Do you support high taxes or low taxes?
The only kind that I like to pay low.
What about the gas taxes? Yeah.
Okay, well, so you need a motion or anything?
I have the motion, I have the second, so I'm doing the roll call.
Please.
Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayter?
Yes.
Councilmember Park?
Yes.
Councilmember Stefanowitz?
Yes.
Councilmember Zina?
yes.
Welcome aboard. We'll hold you to the low tax thing. Okay, I believe that concludes our special regular meeting.
Yes.
You want to read the closed session, please?
Sure.
Yeah.